At it again, and we've got two hoax that we're gonna have to debunk today. And you know, part of me is really annoyed, but then there's another part of me that, you know, is smiling, because when the desperation when we see this type of desperation, when they've ratcheted it up to this level where they're just reaching for everything, for me it confirms what these polls have been showing me. It confirms what I've been seeing. It confirms some of the internal polls that have been allegedly leaked, right? And I'll show you guys this poll really quickly. This is Atlas Intel. This is the most accurate pollster from 2020. Atlas Intel came the closest to predicting how the 2020 election would end. And this is their latest poll. As you guys can see here, I'll put it on the big screen. Yeah, the only state that they have projected for Kamala is Wisconsin, and it's barely. It's by 0.2. Less than a full point. That's the only one. All the other ones, you got North Carolina, almost 4. Georgia, +2. Arizona, +4. Nevada, +3.5. And then, of course, Wisconsin down 0.2. You got Michigan up 0.5 point, and Pennsylvania up 1.5 points. So, for me, it confirms polls like that. But with that being said, let's dive into the first hoax that we have to get into. Check it out.
4 days out from Election Day, and former President Donald Trump is escalating his violent rhetoric, suggesting one of his most prominent critics, the former Congresswoman Liz Cheney, should be fired upon.
She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. You know, when the guns are trained on her face. You know, they're all war hawks when they're sitting in Washington in a nice building saying, oh, gee, let's send 10,000 troops right into the mouth of the enemy.
Let's see how she feels when the guns are trained on her face. Let's sit with that for a moment. Of course, violent rhetoric, it's not new for Trump. But this stark imagery represents an escalation at a tense moment when the country is on edge heading into Tuesday, with 7 in 10 Americans saying they feel anxious or frustrated about the election, according to a new AP poll. And it comes after.
Yeah, so you saw that there. I'm not going to subject you guys to any more of that crap. That goes on for 8.5 minutes, which, yeah, I'm not going to go through all that. But you see, I mean, they're seriously trying to run with this narrative that Trump is calling for Liz Cheney to be pine boxed in front of a firing squad. I mean, look, check it out.
I don't think you even need to call it fired upon. He's saying quite explicitly and unambiguously that Liz Cheney should be shot, should be executed by firing squad.
4 days out from Election Day, and former President Donald Trump is escalating his violent rhetoric, suggesting one of his most prominent critics, the former Congresswoman Liz Cheney, should be fired upon.
Your reaction to what Donald Trump said about Liz Cheney?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, it was completely inappropriate, dangerous, and unbecoming of a leader. Mr. Trump was literally going after someone who doesn't agree with him. So it shouldn't be a surprise when people come on TV and feel the need to agree with him.
Says 9 barrels. When he says 9 barrels shooting at her, that obviously evokes images of a firing squad. It evokes images of an execution.
Let's execute a political opponent who happens to be a woman because I don't like her. And like, does that pull more low propensity voters in his coalition to the polls? I honestly don't think so.
And I don't blame him for sticking with his daughter.
Hold on, before we get into the full clip, you guys saw them trying to run with this BS narrative that Trump is calling for Liz Cheney, one of his political opponents, to be stood in front of a firing squad and fired upon. You guys heard that. You heard that. Now, as you saw there at the end, I'm going to play you the full clip. Well, not full clip, but a minute and a half, right, surrounding the Liz Cheney comment, so you guys get some more context as to what exactly he was saying. And it wasn't putting Liz Cheney in front of a firing squad. But check it out.
And Cheney was he said, I really want to thank you. He said, now I'm so glad that I actually endorsed you. It's amazing, but that you would do this. And I didn't
He's speaking about Dick Cheney.
speak to him about it. But then, go a couple of years forward or go now. And I don't blame him for sticking with his daughter, but his daughter is a very dumb individual, very dumb. She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. When the guns are trained on her face. They're all war hawks when they're sitting in Washington in a nice building saying, oh, gee, let's send 10,000 troops right into the mouth of the enemy. But she's a stupid person. And I used to I'd have meetings with a lot of people, and she always wanted to go to war with people. So whether it's her, whether it's Dick, I was surprised a little bit with Dick Cheney. I didn't know him at all. I only had essentially the 1 or 2 phone calls, and it was only a call saying, thank you very much for doing that for Scooter Libby. That was nice. And Scooter Libby, by the way, was beyond that. He couldn't believe that it happened. Nobody would do it. They should have done that for him years before. But I was a little surprised because I actually thought that Dick Cheney would go with me over his daughter, and he didn't. And you know what? I understand it. It's your daughter, and you go. But she's a bad person.
So yeah, you guys heard that there. The clip in more context, which he clearly was not calling for the pine boxing of Liz Cheney. He clearly was not saying, hey, let's put Liz Cheney in front of a firing squad just because I don't like her. He was saying, hey, it's easy to sit in D.C. in your nice plush little office while you collect a check to send somebody else's kids into war. That is easy to do. How about you stand in front of those barrels and you be fired upon? And I guarantee you your mind would change. That's what he was saying. That's what he was saying. It's easy to sacrifice somebody else's kids. Why don't you go out there and fight? And I said something like this probably over a year ago now, and the video's still up on the channel. But I said something along the lines of, maybe we should change the laws in this country to where when we go to war, the people who want us to go to war, in Congress, president, whoever, they should go and fight in that war. And if they can't fight, their children should go fight in that war. I guarantee you, if that was changed in this country, we would be in a lot less wars. A whole lot less wars. There would be a lot more peace talks going on. Like, hey, well, let's work this out over here. Let's work this out over there, instead of, oh no, let's go to war. There would be a lot less of that war talk going on. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. And that's what Trump is saying. Stop sacrificing everybody else's kids. You go fight. You stand in the battle. You stand in the middle of war where there's guns pointed at your face and they're trying to take you out. You do it. You do it. I'm sure a lot of us have spoken to military men and women, and some of those stories, it almost brings tears to your eyes. It really does. I'm thinking of a guy right now. I was watching a story on him on right here on YouTube, actually. Oh crap! The black guy with the dreads. He was a sniper. I can't think of his name, and some of you are you're gonna type it in the comment section, but I can't think of his name. But he was describing some of the stories, being pinned down and having bullets flying over his head, and watching one of his fellow army men be basically pine boxed in front of him. Also, I know a guy who went to war and he had to watch. I'm trying to think of a PG way to say it. He watched the vehicle behind him get shot into the air. Let's just say that. And I'm going to leave it at that. Y'all know what I mean when vehicle get shot up into the air. Trump was saying, you, Liz Cheney, you go experience that. You go stand in those times. You go stand in those wars. And I guarantee you, your calls for war all the time would completely go out the window. Completely go out the window. But these folks get to sit in their nice little offices, collect a check, and they sacrifice our children for their selfish beliefs. And Trump is like, no, we're not doing that anymore. So yeah, absolutely BS hoax story. But once again, they're desperate. They know that Trump is winning, so they have to come up with something. Now, on to the second hoax story that we have to get into. Oh my goodness. Man, oh man, oh man. I'm just going to roll the clip because this is just absolutely insane. Shout out to Byron Donalds.
All right. Why is Donald Trump telling women he will do things whether they like it or not?
John, that is grossly inaccurate what you just played. Play the full clip, play it in its context. He was talking about the tragedy at our southern border that led to the death of Jocelyn Nungare. Jocelyn's mother has come out and endorsed Donald Trump because she fully believes that if Donald Trump was president, her daughter would be alive. And so what he was talking about was, I'm going to protect women. I'm going to protect children. And then he was just telling a joke. Really, he was telling a joke about how some of the staff said, no, don't say you would protect women because they would take it out of context. Obviously, what CNN is doing right now, taking it out of context.
No. You're actually, you have the exact right context. You have the exact right context here, Congressman.
Aliens, especially violent, illegal alien criminals who have raped and who have murdered women in the United States.
Congressman, you just explained the exact right context was Donald Trump's story was telling people how people close to him, okay, his advisors were telling him not to use that type of language, to say, I am going to be your protector. And John, that is the context in that speech. No. John, that was what he was doing. And then he said, I'm going to protect them, the women, whether they like it or not. And I'm not the only one asking you about this language. Donald Trump, his advisors clearly knew it was an issue. And Nikki Haley has been talking about the language that Donald Trump...
So you heard a bit of it there. Trump made a comment where he said that he was going to protect women whether they like it or not. And I'm going to play the clip because now they're trying to say that Trump is trying to take over for women. Trump is trying to take over women's lives. And that's not what he was saying at all.
It's an invasion, ladies and gentlemen. It's an invasion. Kamala has imported criminal migrants from prisons and jails, from insane asylums and mental institutions all over the world, from Venezuela to the Congo, including savage criminals who assault, rape, and murder our women and girls. Anyone who would let monsters kidnap and kill our children does not belong anywhere near the Oval Office. And my people told me about 4 weeks ago, I was saying, no, I want to protect the people. I want to protect the women of our country. I want to protect the women. Sir, please don't say that. Why? They said, we think it's very inappropriate for you to say. So why? I'm president. I want to protect the women of our country. They said. They said, sir, I just think it's inappropriate for you to say, pay these guys a lot of money. Can you believe it? I said, well, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to protect them. I'm going to protect them from migrants coming in. I'm going to protect them from foreign countries that want to hit us with missiles and lots of other things. Remember, for 4 years we had no war other than I defeated ISIS, but I defeated ISIS in... I felt like Brett Favre. I defeated ISIS in 4 weeks instead of 5 years.
So now that you got to see the full clip in his context, was he saying he's going to take over women's lives? I mean, like, oh my goodness, Trump wants to protect women from illegal immigrants who are out here doing some terrible things. Some of them. People have died because of them. And I know the media's narrative, leftist media, well, Americans kill Americans. That's their whole thing. So just because something else bad is going on, we should allow other bad things to happen too. I seriously have heard that response to that answer, right? When somebody said, illegals are killing Americans, they responded with, well, Americans kill Americans. What? So two wrongs don't make a right. We learned that as children. And this is our national media saying this on national television. They are so desperate? Trump is clearly talking about the illegals that have come in here and have threatened the lives of our women in this country. And he's like, yo, no, I'm getting them out of here. I'm getting them out of here ASAP. The first day that I'm in office, I'm putting that in motion. I am going to help protect our women in this country. Women shouldn't be walking down the street in fear that some illegal is about to SA them. Okay, I got to keep it PG. That's insane. That is insane. But that's happening. They've pine box children. And just the media is just okay with it because Trump said, I'm going to protect women whether they like it or not. What? Isn't that part of the duty of men to protect women? Like, shouldn't we be proud to do something like that? You see what I mean? Like, this is just, it's mind-boggling to me that the media tries to spin something like that. Like, it's a negative thing for a man to say, I'm going to protect women. It's a negative thing for a man to say that. And I know the media is going to be attached to whether they like it or not. They're going to be attached to that. But they're opposed to a man saying, I'm going to protect women. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine that? Man, the desperation. It's become a bad thing for men to stand up and say, no, I want to protect women. That's become a bad thing. That. Man. You know, I guess another part of me is, and I said this before, I guess I shouldn't be too mad about the media doing this because this makes folks like me, independent media, more prominent because people see through the crap. You know, people see through the crap. Actually, I want to show you guys this because like their like to dislike ratio on their own channel.
Couldn't figure
Hold on.
it out.
Ad playing. Goodness, pause. Sheesh. Their like to dislike ratio is pretty crazy. Now, it's not where it should be, but if I had a like to dislike ratio like theirs, I would be changing something up. Look at this. Look at this. Now, I got a dislike on there too, but that doesn't change the 1.3. Like, look at this. 1.3 to 3.4. And this is that same video that I started playing earlier about the whole Liz Cheney hoax. If my like to dislike ratio was that bad, I'd be panicking. I have a 99.6% likes. So I have like a 0.04% dislike rate. On some videos, it's less than that. It's like a 0.02 dislike rate. I don't think I've ever received a dislike rate that is that bad. That bad. Yeah, and on the back end on YouTube, we can see like the percentage of likes that we have. Like I'm looking at 99, 99, 99, 99, 99, 99, 99, 99, 90. Ooh, there's a 98 right there. Oh, my goodness. But like they're all like 99.8, 99.7, 99.8, 99.6, 99.7, 99.6, 99.8, like all like 99% likes. And CNN, and you could go look for yourselves, their like to dislike ratio is nowhere near that. Nowhere near that. Their likes is probably 50 to 60% on a lot of their videos. 60% likes. Insane, man. Insane. So, yeah, keep it up, left-wing media. You're only making people like me more popular because people see through the BS. But share this video with all of your friends, family, co-workers, everybody. Please, America needs to see the truth. They are desperate in trying to push a BS narrative, and I just proved it. Peace and love. I'm out.